G'day guys, Charlie Matthews here from Deutz-Fahr, New Zealand. We're here today to do a walk around of our 5100.4D TTV. Now our 5D TTV is our premium offering in the specialist sort of sector. So these are continuously variable transmissions in a compact frame to really optimise the most of these tractors when you're working in those sort of specialist applications. Our 5D TTV here that you see behind me also carries the same platform over as our narrow configuration tractors, so the likes of our 5DV, our 5DS and our 5DF TTV. This one sits around 1.7 metres wide as standard, and then when you go down those smaller ones you can go right down to under 1.2 metres for the more narrow applications. We're going to focus on this one today because it's the one we've got here behind me, but a lot of these features will carry over into those smaller narrow configurations as well. Let's go take a closer look. So with these tractors obviously being targeted at a very specialist market, there's a lot of different features and options that we can tailor from the factory to make these suit the different applications. We also bring in a standard New Zealand spec on most of our offerings that we try and sort of cover off most bases. However, if there's anything that we don't have standard, then there's a lot of options from the factory that we can change to tailor and suit the sort of different style of working that these tractors are going to be doing. One of those options is the engine, so they're all based off the same block with the Fahr Motion 3.8 or 2.8, depending on whether you go for the 4-cylinder or the 3-cylinder. Our 3-cylinder goes up to 100 horsepower. Obviously with the slightly less horsepower, the advantage of having one less pot on the front means you've got a shorter wheelbase. Makes these tractors a bit more manoeuvrable if you're turning on tight headlands or in smaller blocks. When you go to the 4-cylinder, you gain a little bit further in the wheelbase, but you also obviously get that extra power. So if you're driving any bigger implements such as large sprayers or running a lot of gear like a trimmer off the front with mulches on the back where you're doing quite sort of high demanding work. So then you can obviously jump up to the 4-cylinder for the extra power, and that'll just give you a little bit more scope to work with when you're doing those sort of more high demanding tasks. So obviously being designed for the specialist market, everything needs to be nice and tight and compact. So you'll see under here everything is squeezed into a nice sort of tight frame, keeping it nice and sort of compact so that you can still get good visibility out of the cabin. So although everything is nice and tight underneath the bonnet, it's still designed to be very easy to access in terms of your maintenance and your day-to-day checks. Your fuel is located at the front here, so it's nice and easy to get to. You've got screens for your radiators. These panels on the side remove just with just one little bolt to take the panels off if you need to get to like your fuel or oil filters. So your servicing and access and that side of things hasn't been sort of hindered by the smaller frame and the more compact nature of this tractor. So with the front end on these tractors, they come with an option of either a fixed front axle or a suspended front axle. So if you're running trimming gear off the front, it might be an option to go for the suspended front axle to help keep the front of that tractor sort of more steady and stable, so you're not swinging your attachments on the front around. That's an option we offer from factory. However, our standard offering with the fixed front axle still comes with 4-wheel braking, so if you are towing big sprayers on hill blocks, you've got that extra stopping power, a little bit extra peace of mind when you're doing that sort of side of things. The wheels, we can spec different wheel options on these. We bring these in on a standard configuration with the 320 85 R20 on the front, and then we've got our 380 65 R30s on the back. So that's quite a narrow tyre configuration. However, if you were on sort of hillier or more unsteady ground, you could opt for a wider wheel as well. Adjustable rims for both front and back, so you can shift those to suit your different row spacings if you're working in like a horticulture application, or if you just want them a bit wider for that extra stability. With running gear off the front, we've got an option for front link and PDO as well on these machines that we can do ex-factory. And then we've got a range of mid-mount remotes here as well. So if you were just running a standard mounting plate off the front for the likes of a trimmer or a defoliator, you've still got a number of outlets off the front here that are duplicated off the back, so you still get your maximum oil flow out of those, as well as a couple of free flow return lines just for a dump to tank on those implements. So around the back end of these tractors, we run a 100 litre a minute CCLS pump, so that's our high flow hydraulic pump on these. So you basically got your maximum sort of oil flow that will run any sort of implement within this sort of sector. We run 4 remotes across the back, so again if you're running high demanding implements, you've got plenty of couplers there, as well as a free flow return for your oil return. We've got hydraulic trailer brakes as standard, so if you are running the bigger sprayers and things like that, they plug all straight in, ready to go. You don't have to sort of retrofit anything. Isobus at the back as well, so we're starting to see a lot more Isobus controlled sprayers and implements coming into the sort of specialist market. So these tractors are pre-wired with Isobus, so then you can run your implements through your monitor that's already in the cab. PDO at the back, we've got a 3-speed PDO, so if you're doing any lighter work you can run it in economy mode, save a bit of fuel. We've got a high capacity rear hitch, so for lifting implements, as well as an electronic control for those on the outside, so if we're attaching our implements at the back, we don't have to get in and out of the cab, we can work that all from the mudguard to keep it nice and easy. So up here in the cab, obviously doing long days in these tractors with a lot of repetitive work, so comfort is really a priority for these machines. In our tractors we run a flat operating platform, so it gives you nice space to stretch out and relax without having to sort of be stuck in the same position all day. Our steering wheel folds up nice and high out of the way with just the foot pedal down here, so that makes access in and out of the cab nice and easy without any obstruction. So from a health and safety standpoint, these cabs and these tractors are Cat 4 rated, so they run quite a unique system. So we've got our paper filters on one side of the cab and our carbon filters on the other. There's a little button up on the roof lining here to change between whether it's passing through the paper filter or the carbon filter. When you engage that function, it actually comes up on the screen with a charge bar to show how much charge your filters have left, and also your cabin pressurization, so you can make sure your cabin's nice and safe before you engage a sprayer and deal with those sort of hazardous chemicals. So being a TTV, it's pretty much the ultimate in the transmission for this work with these applications. So the advantage of a TTV obviously is it keeps our ground speed and our engine speed completely independent. So whether you're working at a constant PDO speed or you're constantly changing revs, from an operator perspective, all you have to do is tell the tractor how fast you want to go. It'll hold that speed constant and then it'll adjust the revs accordingly. If you are working with a PDO, obviously you set your revs to a certain point and then the transmission itself will manipulate the drive and delivery in order to achieve the constant ground speed. So we've got 2 cruise speeds, so if you're working in a vineyard or in a horticulture application, you can have a working speed, and then when you get to the end of your row, you engage your second cruise speed, which can slow you down, makes it nice and easy to do your turn, and then re-engage your working speed. The joystick here, that's for all our main drive controls, so we can adjust our speed on the go with this stick. As well as that, it's got a number of functions on it, including all our hydraulic functions and some assignable buttons too, so you can assign a number of different functions to have it nice and close to hand. Down on the armrest, we've got all the rest of our main controls, likes of our engine speeds, our hand throttle, our PDO engage. We've got the rest of our hydraulic functions and our hitch up and down. So it really is everything nice and close to hand. You're not having to reach around or find different functions in different places. Everything's all nice and ergonomic and easy to get to. So with our New Zealand spec, we bring these in with our eye monitor as standard on them. So it's our 8-inch control monitor. So what that does, it gives us a bit more configurability in terms of tractor function or configuration. And it also lets us run our Isobus through that. If we're running any sort of fleet management software or job sharing software through our screens as well, it's all controlled through the one terminal. It's mounted nice and easy to hand just in front of you here, so if you're working in a straight run or anything, you're not having to look around, it's all there nice and easy, but it's not obstructing your view or anything either. As well as these, we're starting to see a lot more of these go out with auto steer or GPS in them. That all runs through that monitor as well, so you've got all your controls and all your functions through the one screen. Keeps your cab nice and decluttered, especially when you're working in a confined working space. By having it all sort of nice and concise and in a small one location, it makes it a lot easier. So that's a walk around of our 5D TTV series. So as we said, we've got a range of these tractors, so not only the larger frame 5D like beside me here, but most of those features carry over into our 5DV, 5DS and 5DF TTV tractors as well. So if you'd like to see why these are the best selling tractors in the specialist sector for Europe, or try them in your own operation here in New Zealand, get into your local power farming dealership and talk to one of our sales representatives about these machines.